There we go, that should be enough. Alright, welcome everybody to round 11 this week. We are here at Mexico. 17 drivers today. 18 minutes of qualifying lie ahead. Let's see who will be on that pole position.
As A. Williams
leaves
the garage, first one to do so, in the Haas car.
Let's get that set up.
As it looks like Sam Drives is actually on the medium compound of tyres, so I don't know if this is just an installation there trying to get warmed up, but he is on a different compound of tyres, so whether he is trying to maybe qualify with them, I don't actually really know. Obviously, he might be thinking about the one-stop or the alternate strategy, because obviously, if he's the championship leader, he might be thinking of doing something different to his rivals out on the track, so that'll be quite interesting to watch in this qualifying session, as he's actually spun and he has hit the wall. He loses
That
his
is a
front
really
wing.
unfortunate start from Sam Drives.
Well, we were talking about in our interviews that he didn't want to jinx crashing, and well, he's got no front wing on his first lap. Obviously, the medium tyres were a little bit cold there, but he has actually crashed, and he's just got a load of understeer now. He's going to have to come in the box.
Let's find, there he is, the sole Haas driver for this race, and one of our usual commentators, A. Williams, first across the line to start his flying lap. Let's see what he can do. He is of course on those soft compound tyres for his first lap. Nicely through the first sector so far. Just coming into the second now. There is a yellow flag in Sector 2. It looks like there is an issue with one of the Aston Martins, potentially.
Williams
and he spins
around. Oh, that's a
Manages
shame.
to keep it out of the wall.
I think the yellow flags was due to people bunching up. Obviously, both AlphaTauris really close to each other. Maybe they're thinking about getting DRS from each other. And behind that is... I believe that's Pixels behind the both AlphaTauris. His Apex is currently on an outlap on the medium compound of tyres, so obviously proving quite a popular choice of tyre for the top three in the championship. As A. Williams does set the fastest time, but I have a feeling they'll be beaten extremely quickly as well.
And it is.
Kiwi with 1 minute 16.996. Let's see what the other championship, the other contenders can do. F1 Sculpt with a 1 minute 19.026 as Ricky Racer goes on pole position with a 1 minute 16.3 as Weepiabag goes second, and Ricky Racer's almost on pole by about 0.3 of a second at the moment, provisionally.
We do have a retirement. The AlphaTauri of Bla Yappa, can't see what's happened to him unfortunately, but he has retired from this session.
Oh, it looks like he's just parked it on the track. I just saw from A. Williams is on board, but it looked like he just parked it, so maybe this was a strategic decision. Maybe, I don't really know, because surely if he qualified outside the top of 10, he would start on time as he wants, but maybe this is some kind of game to him that he wants to play with the other drivers' minds.
Next across the line will be the Alfa Romeo of POR Ben as he sticks it on provisional pole with a 1:15.277.
Jim Bobster with the medium compound size goes P2, but let's not discount. Oh, I think has Apex made a mistake? Yes, he has. He's definitely going slow through that middle sector, and obviously that middle sector is pretty difficult, but we're seeing a lot of mistakes from the drivers today, especially in the medium compounder tyres. As Weepiabag takes second place above Jim Bobster. It seems like people are doing a couple of runs on these soft tyres.
Who would be our next driver to come across the line? It looks like it will possibly be A. Williams, setting his third lap time of the session so far. Currently sitting P6 with a 1:16.8. Not a bad lap time from him. I'm sure he will be able to find some time though.
Well, it won't be because he's going into the pit lane.
Not on that lap time, unfortunately. He
No.
walks it, comes into the pits, more fuel and potentially a tyre change before he heads back out.
The C on board with Unku. Going into the stadium section, down to second gear. Oh, he's just going to go a little bit wide there. Now in the final corner, goes down into second gear and then tries to get the best rotation possible coming out the final corner, and he goes P10 with a 1 minute 18.048.
We do have the first of our McLaren driver pairing now coming out of the pits. SOG and Impulse on his outlap now on the soft compound tyre. Like the majority of the field, there are a couple of people, 3 drivers currently on those medium compound tyres. Sam drives currently in second, Jim Bobster in 4th, and Ellis Apex in 16th.
Sorry to interrupt, but Ryan Verde on his debut has actually just spun at what looks like to be around about turn 6, I want to say, and he's really holding up people. And I think the Ferrari has actually gone off with Kiba. Yeah, he's just gone off completely. He's damaged the front wing.
He's been disqualified.
I have no idea what's that about. And Ben goes on pole with 14.8 as all the Alpine gets really close to Kibi there. What is going on in this Mexican qualifying session?
This qualifying session has been chaos so far. Only about 8 minutes into the session, still another 10 minutes remain. Currently, POR Ben on provisional pole, leading by quite some way from his closest rival so far. Sam drives in P2.
Do you think it would do us justice to go on board with the championship leader? He starts another lap with the medium compound
I think that would be an
tyres.
idea.
Obviously, if you're wondering, you'll be seeing that on board with or the point of view from Toxic Demons. So if I commentate and you don't know what I'm on about, as Pixels goes really wide, he just cuts the first chicane as Apex does it pretty nicely, keeps it within the track limits. Now he's going to have a short sprint down to the next corner to think about his braking zone. Brakes. Oh, this is a toe from Aston Martin. That's exactly what's happening. As he nearly actually loses the car going into this double apex right-hander. Now going into the second sector, he runs a little bit wide there, but let's see what he can do into the fast S section. He goes a little bit wide there, goes onto the curb on exit, lifts off. Now planted in 7th gear as, oh, he nearly spins it and he actually downshifts for a brief second. Now going into the stadium section, does he use the inside curb? Yes, he does, a little bit. Now onto the very tight left-hander, and now it's a very difficult traction zone as he now just seemingly cuts the corner. Now going onto the final corner, does he keep it tight? He could have done better, but it is enough for P8 on the grid. P9 now. That is not really what the championship leader really needed.
It's not a particularly brilliant lap from Apex. It is, however, a lap on the board. The first lap that he's been able to complete so far, it seems, but he's getting pushed down further and further now. Originally P8, then P9, now all the way down to P10. Second Aston Martin, FV Pixels, currently down in P12. After sacrificing his own lap to give Apex a bit of a tow down the straight. We'll see if he goes for another attempt.
I'm just watching Riki Racer here, and I think Alpine are doing the same tactic as Aston Martin are. Riki Racer, at the moment, is in the brilliant second at the moment. It's seeming to be quite close with his Alpine teammate of Reyes Verde, so maybe they're thinking about giving Verde a tow down the next straight, but I mean, both of them aren't on push laps at the moment, but maybe we'll see something different now.
We'll wait and see what he can do with this lap as he comes into the pits. Never mind.
Oh, and A. Williams goes off. He doesn't actually... He's a ghosted car, but he hasn't got front wing damage, but that's obviously not going to be good for his lap time. As Sam Drives goes on to provisional pole position, 3 tenths ahead of Ben at the moment.
That is an absolutely mega lap from Sam Drives. He's been doing quite quick lap times so far this qualifying session, but just hasn't quite been able to link up the lap that he wanted, but it seems as though he's finally done it. Still sitting on provisional pole, just a few tenths away. In second place is POR Ben, and just 1/100th of a second away from POR Ben is Jim Bobster in third. Very similar lap times indeed.
Oh, it's Jim Bobster. I think he's going to go for a lap here, maybe, or is he going to go into the pits? He's going to be pitting, okay. Let's see what laps the people are doing across the field. And obviously, Sam Drives probably, I would imagine, wants to. Yeah, he's just cut the corner blatantly there. He's going to pit this lap. The McLaren's doing well in P7 and well, P6 and now P8 as Reyes Verde on a pretty good lap there. It secures 7th place behind his teammate Riki Racer, who currently holds still an impressive 4th place. Let's see what Harrison can do. Is he going to push that? Oh, the commentator's curse has happened. He spun.
Here we go. This looks like a lap that is happening currently, or at least the build up to one. LS Unku in the Alfa Romeo, P13 currently. As he's moving out of the way of the Red Bull pairing coming up behind him.
He's got to remember there's 2 Red Bull cars. Okay. So it's looking like he's going to try and break the slipstream both the Red Bulls have, trying to use their own tactics against them. As I believe that's Jim Bobster going out the pit lane there. I think Apex also just gave Pixels a tow, so I wouldn't be surprised if Pixels has done a good lap here, but he's actually invalidated, so obviously he's not going to improve any positions here, which is a shame for the British driver running the number 29. Apex really needs to improve his lap time. He's now on the soft tyres, but he's outside the top 10, which is not where he wants to be. So if he makes one mistake here, he could potentially be starting the Mexican Grand Prix from 11th place.
We spoke to Apex just before we launched into this qualifying session, and he told us that he didn't want to be sitting on that pole position. I would imagine, however, he didn't want to be this far down the field. P11 is really not where he wants to be, considering his championship rival is currently sitting on provisional pole.
Oh, the Pixels is doing a good job giving Apex the tow down the first 2 straights. But it's now just really up to Apex to hook up the lap. His teammate's done the job, his team's done the job. Let's see what the driver can do. He's now actually approaching a little bit of traffic ahead of A. Williams to see if he gets out of the way. Going through the S section, this can be very difficult, and any car ahead can put you off. As he now opens the DRS, A. Williams gets out of the way nicely, heading into the stadium section, braking at the 100 meter board, down into 4th gear. Now, he actually shifts up there during the braking zone, which is very odd. Cuts that corner beautifully, but within track limits, and now around the final corner. Is this going to be good enough for pole? No, because he... Wow. he broke ahead of the start-finish line, so he doesn't get pole position. But is that the tactic he really wants? Because he's now fourth, which, I mean, he said he didn't want to start from pole position, but he doesn't want to start any lower than fourth.
We can question whether that was tactics to try and keep him from pole. I did see a fastest middle sector appear during that lap time. Whether he was on for that pole position or not, and he just wanted to just slow down the lap just a little to make sure he didn't get that pole position, we may never know. Fourth place, a lot better than Apex was just a few short moments ago.
Oh, Ricky Racer
Would
just
he
hit
like
the
to
wall.
be higher?
Well, Apex is now in 5th position as Ricky Racer, who I just said hit the wall, has still improved. This is what I was saying. Apex now braking there. He might have got pole, but he might now start in 6th position. He obviously didn't account for the track grip going back up. Do we know how much time is left in this qualifying session? Oh, there you go.
1 minute 40 as the yellow flag disappears.
So we only really have a couple of people who are really in contention. So I think, is Apex going for another lap? No, he is not. He's going into the pit lane. Sam drives. Is this his final lap? It could well be. I mean, he's already on provisional pole, but let's see if he can extend his margin. At the moment, he's got pole by a 10th. Can he perhaps dip into the 13s? He's going really wide there. Cutting the corner.
Timing screen showing he is about 3/10 faster than his personal best lap so far. So we'll see what he can do if he keeps it clean through this final sector. Around the final corner now, just getting into the wall a little bit it seems. Across the line he goes and he does improve.
That's a beautiful lap from Sam there, 0.2. Absolute class of the field at the moment. 4/10 ahead of the next rival, his championship rivals, PRR Ben and LS Apex 66 in the measly 4th and 5th in comparison. Obviously though, he's not going to have to toe down with turn 1, so he will have to account that in, but at the end of the day, pole position is still pole position.
We may have one final lap here
Yeah.
from POR Ben in the Alfa Romeo.
Oh,
Let's see what he can
there's
do.
an Alpine that I think is in a wall. No, he's just... I think he's retired from the session, but there is yellow flags. This is going to be the deciding lap of the qualifying session, I think. Got all the pressure on him, the Alfa Romeo driver.
What can he do with his final flying lap of the race? Currently sitting in P4 as Sam Drive sets another lap. Almost a 1:14 flat from the Williams driver.
That's impressive. That is very impressive to do 2 consecutive fastest laps, but obviously Ben is still in the fight for pole position. Let's see what he can do. Running a lovely blue helmet. Stadium section does that absolutely beautifully. Turns into the left-hander. He doesn't cut it as much as Apex or Sam Drives, as I've been seeing. He's going around the final corner, gets some beautiful traction, and they're going to try and minimise the distance. Sam Drives
That will
pole
be
by a second.
P2.
As we're going to watch Harrison complete his lap. Can he go any higher than 11th? Yes, he can with 6th position. Good lap there from the Red Bull driver.
Solid lap to end out this qualifying. So as the results currently stand, driver on pole position is Sam Drives 42 in the Williams, followed closely by POR Ben 12 in 2nd place. Jim Bobster in the Ferrari in P3, Ricky Racer in the Alpine in P4, and rounding out the top 5 is your current Drivers' Championship leader, LS Apex 66, in the Aston Martin.
I do have to say that this has been Sam's qualifying session. I mean, to do 2 laps that would beat the pole position time is a pretty good achievement, and back to back on the same set of tyres. Well, that's a great performance from the young British driver as he looks to hopefully close down the gap between him and Apex in the standings. There we go, as Harrison has now finally retired, so we can hopefully advance the race. And boy, I'm looking forward to this race. Going down into turn 1, that'll be exciting.
This could be quite the race to watch. We'll take a short pause now as the qualifying session ends, and then we will be back on the grid for the start of the formation lap.
At the moment, the drivers will be trying to thinking about their strategies of what they're going to do for this Mexican Grand Prix. Obviously, I believe there are 36 laps of the Auto Hermanos Rodriguez circuit in Mexico. Let's see what it can produce.
We will see indeed. Just a few seconds now and we will start the formation lap.
Would you like me to go
on the grid, ready for lights out?
Would you like me to go through the grid just to remind everyone of it whilst we're on the formation lap? Alright, let's just wait for everyone. So, as it's lights out and away we go on the formation lap. So, Sam drives, the Williams driver is on pole position ahead on the front row still, POR Ben in the Alfa Romeo. The Scuderia Ferrari driver of Jim Bobster positions himself into P3 with Ricky Racer in the Alpine, placing that car in an absolutely remarkable 4th position. LS Apex, the current championship leader, has overtaken everyone for some reason in the formation lap, but it will be lining up in 5th position. In 6th place, it is the Red Bull driver of Harrison 2906, obviously the driver who set the last lap in qualifying. Then the Sol Haas car of A. Williams lines up in P7 with the McLaren of F1 SV5 lining up alongside him. Then the other Alpine car of Reyes Verde 81 lines up in 9th place with the other McLaren directly behind his teammate of SOG and Impulse. Weepy Bag is the first driver outside of the top 10, even though he's still starting on the soft compound of tyres, with FV Pixels, the other Aston Martin car, lining up in 12th position. Then we have our final LS driver of LS Unku in the Alfa Romeo, lining up in 13th place alongside the Star Mercedes car, who has actually gone as the medium compound of tyres of F1 Scott. Then it follows with both AlphaTauris, with Blyapper not actually setting a lap. And then the disqualified from qualifying Kiwi lines up last in 17th place.
Alright, as the drivers just come around the final corner now, they will reform on the grid as we await lights out. Who will it be leading into the first corner? Will it be your pole sitter Sam drives? Will it be POR Ben in 2nd place, or will it be somebody else? We will find out. As the last few cars take their positions.
Would you like me to do the start sequence? So we don't
I'll
interrupt
call the start this time. If I could see the lights, there we go. 5 lights. There we go, lights out and away we go for the start of the Mexican Grand Prix. A good start from the Williams of Sam drives. POR Ben not getting a great start now. Down in P3, P4, he's been done by Jim Bobster and Ricky Racer on this start so far. There's an Alpine straight into the wall. That is Reyes Verde straight into the wall off the start of this race. That is not what we want to see.
Apex and Ben touching, wheel banging, going down the back straight here. Is there going to be a battle for There is. Apex down the inside of the Alfa Romeo, but the Alfa Romeo is going to hold it around the outside, now down the inside here, but Apex is still there. Oh, there's more contact. Even more contact as these cars are going so close, as now they're going into the S section. Is Apex going to try here? No, he backs off. As Ricky Racer made an incredible start there, and is now running in the podium positions, with Sam Drivers also absolutely making a great impression there from pole position. As Apex is going to go down the inside here of POR Ben 12, as Ben goes around the outside. What an incredible defensive move there. Oh, is Jim Bobson defending there from Ricky Racer?
This has been one hell of a first lap. We've seen some close fights already. Your championship leader LS Apex very close with POR Ben in the Alfa Romeo. They've banged wheels multiple times on the first lap so far. I have a feeling it's going to be a very close fight for the win.
Oh, and Ricky Racer is looking all around the back of the gearbox of the Ferrari of Jim Bobsters. I think they might have made contact there, as now Ricky Racer is going to get the run going down into turn. I think that's full. As who's that? POR Ben? It's just lost a load of positions. What's this about?
Something's happened to POR Ben. I think I just saw him reset to track at some point. There's an instant there that we've missed.
Oh, that's a shame.
Looks like coming together with Apex potentially.
Two championship rivals could be having some contact as now. Oh, as Ricky Racer hits the wall. As he now spins on the track again. This is so painful. He was doing so well in third place, but it's now he's got front wing damage. It's now just not going to plan for him.
Neither of the Alpines having the race start that they would have wanted. Ricky Racer got away very well and had a good start, but just not being able to maintain that position. A very bad crash there from the Alpine. Lucky to only lose part of his front wing. That could have come off quite a bit worse. As LS Apex now sets the fastest lap as
Jim Bobson's already running out of energy. Let's
everywhere.
See. Apex is going to go for the move. It would be silly to do it right back here, but he's got to think about doing it on the back straight. As Ricky gets a penalty for speeding in the pit lane, doesn't get a great exit there. Apex, so he's probably going to have to wait another lap for this move, but he'll be pretty determined to go really on the back of to get to the Sam Drives really.
Let's see what he can do on the Ferrari. The Ferrari getting quite a bit of oversteer coming out of that corner now. Seems to have regained a little bit of battery now. That red light no longer flashing on the back of that car. He will have a little bit of ERS to defend against the Aston Martin of LS Apex. Will it be enough? You can see through this section of the track, Apex absolutely all over the back of Jim Bobster. As he goes off track there, thinks about a move, but decides against it. Coming into the stadium section,
the two
ahead of Jim Bobster.
I'm going wheel to wheel in the stadium section. The crowd must be liking this, as Apex does a wildly move around the outside there, but Jim Bobster is probably going to get some DRS here down the pit straight as Sam Drives gets another fastest lap of the Grand Prix. He's in a different league out ahead of everyone else, as Jim Bobster is going side to side with LS Apex. Obviously Jim Bobster is also an LS team member, so whether he's really doing the team justice here with Apex 5 with the championship, I'm not sure, but this is still some great racing we're watching.
It is some great racing indeed. Jim Bobster there with the DRS assistance getting past Apex on the main straight there. Another good driver, we see F1 SV5 up a couple of positions from his grid start, currently running in P4. That's a good start from the McLaren. Not such a great start, unfortunately, for the second McLaren of SOG and Impulse. Currently down in P10.
Tell you what, I have just seen.
Ben.
Blyappa up into 8th, even though he was like 16th on the grid, so he's made 8 places already. That's pretty impressive, if I do say so myself. As obviously the Ferrari and the Aston Martin are battling hard. This is allowing the McLaren of F1 SV5 as Kibi DNFs and retires from the session. And there is a safety car as Jim Bobster is now going to pit, and Reyes Verde has also crashed. I think he's also retired. What is going on lap 5 here? This isn't going to help Sam Drives at all. As he is in the pit, Sam Drives. That was very lucky from him. What tyre is he going to go on to?
Going onto those medium compound tyres so far. How many laps is he going to be able to do on those? I doubt he'll be able to take them to the end. If we get another safety car later on in this race, he may just be able to get them to the end, but he could struggle.
I'll tell you who is staying out. F1 Scott up into P5, splitting both Apex and the McLaren of F1 SV5. Weepy Bag's gone onto the hard tyres. So he's looking to go to the end of the race. He's banking on no other safety cars. See a couple of people still pitting maybe onto the soft compound tyres, which is quite an interesting strategy choice.
By our timing screen we can see there are 3 drivers that stayed out. Currently the Red Bull of Harrison leading this race currently. F1 Scott, as we mentioned, staying out, as well as the AlphaTauri of Saskia Moll staying out as well.
I'm not personally... I don't really understand why they would have stayed out, especially Saskia Moll starting on the... well, as Harrison and Saskia Moll, apart from maybe not wanting to double stack, well, they're going to lose up so much time because they're going to have to... They'll have to pit again when everyone's going to bunch up, and they're going to lose so much. They're just going to lose so much time. I don't understand. Even with the double stacking, they would have probably had more positions, but we'll see how this goes for them.
Of course, pitting under the safety car will give you a reduced pit stop loss. You'll lose less time to the rest of the field as they're travelling at a much slower speed when behind the safety car. So those 3 drivers that opted to stay out, as we mentioned, will be losing time when they come to do their pit stops. We'll see what kind of strategy decisions they make later in this race.
Let's have a look at some position changes. So, of course, Harrison has apparently made up 5, but that's just to remind you, he has not pitted yet. Sam Drivers is, well, net P1 from Jim Podster, who will have made up one position. Apex would have made up 2, so that's a good start from him. F1 Scott, obviously he hasn't pitted at the moment, but he is on the medium compound tyres, so you still can't count him out, has made up 9 positions. F1 SV5 has made up 2, and he's actually on the soft tyres. That's interesting, so he's hopefully looking to get past some of the leaders in the championship in the title fight. A. Williams, even though he's pitted, he's still kept his lovely P7 spot. He's been doing quite well in the Sol Haas car. The biggest loser I can really see is Ricky Racer and PO1 Ben 12, with Ben having that weird incident we didn't really see. Ricky Bags made up a few places, and Bly Appen's made up a ton of places since lap 1. Impulse has sadly lost the place, with Saskia Moll also gaining 3, with Pixels losing 1, Ricky Racer from an impressive 4th position on the grid, losing 10, and Unku losing 2, as he nearly hits Ricky Racer. As I believe the safety car is going in this lap.
Oh, they're bunching up quite a bit now. There was nearly a collision between Sam Drives and the lead Red Bull of Harrison. And there is a collision.
Has got a penalty, and what's this? Oh, they're going to go now. Apex has got a great start. Oh, they're going to go. It's going to be side by side for the Red Bull and the Williams. Can Sam Drives go around the outside of Harrison? He thinks about it. They make contact. Oh, there's more contact. Sam still makes it go around the outside. As Apex has now got the position ahead of Jim Bobster, he's now going to think about going down the inside of Harrison. That works out well nicely there for the Aston Martin driver, as Harrison seems to be struggling, as he's now fallen behind Jim Bobster in the Ferrari car there, as now F1 SV5 with now a penalty somehow, and now probably going to think about trying to overtake the Red Bull as soon as possible.
So then we look at your current battle for the lead. LS Apex in the Aston Martin versus Sam Drives, your pole sitter in the Williams. The gap just half a second so far. Of course, no DRS as we've just come out of the safety car.
Oh,
They are
Sam,
still very close.
I think he hit the wall there. He just tapped it. As I think
Drives.
Harrison was he's pitting now. That's a very interesting strategic call. But Apex, all those yellow flags as Saskia Mole seems to bend it. But Apex isn't quite close enough on the main straight, but he'll think about going down, making a move into the second straight. As Sam Drives has a very twitchy moment there. But Apex is just a little bit too far back on this occasion.
Sam Drives going off the track there just a little and getting quite close to the wall. LS Apex following him off the track as well, almost ending up in the wall himself. That is not what he wants. He's going to want to keep this clean if he's hoping to try and take the win here today. He is certainly in contention as it currently stands. P2, just under 4/10 from your lead driver currently, Sam Drives. As there's more yellow flags, it looks like there's a Williams.
Oh, and F1 SV5, the virtual safety car is out. So he's obviously just lost it. Yes, he's hit the wall somehow. Let's go on board with Harrison. You can see he lost his tyre. Very bizarre accident there from the McLaren driver, and that will be a very disappointing for what was seeming to be a very good strategy call. And is it now the full safety car? It's the full safety car now.
It is.
That is not going to help PR Ben. The field's now going to be bunching up, and with the likes of him having his penalty as Ricky Racer gets sadly another penalty from the Alpine driver there.
So, as things stand, we are on lap 9. We come out of one safety car and we go straight back into another as we have a crash from the McLaren of F1 SV5. The lead still remains the same. Sam Drives in the Williams, closely followed by LS Apex. Jim Bobster in P3 correction, and POR Ben in P4. Rounding out the top 5 is A Williams 43 in the Haas, the sole Haas car this race. Good position from him so far. Let's see what he can make out of today. Hopefully some good points at the very least. Potentially a challenge for the podium.
Yeah,
We'll see how things go.
About before the race that I think A Williams could throw up a surprise, and well, he's not doing too bad, is he? So's
Certainly not.
Blayappa, from what was 16th on the grid, up 10 places. Of course, he is on them soft tyres, but that is a pretty good job from the AlphaTauri driver. And of course, nice seeing F1 Scott doing well, taking my seat that I vacated from the second round. As POL Ben has pitted. Maybe this is to reduce his penalty, but he's going on to the medium compounded tyres. This is interesting. As you can see the Alfa Romeo crew waiting 5 seconds to remove his penalty. So that's obviously a tactical decision there to remove his penalty, try and get through the field quickly, and then hopefully be in contention with the nice, fresh medium compound tyres.
We'll have to wait a couple of laps to see how that strategy works out for him, but that is quite possibly a fairly clever strategy call. Of course, you're losing less time when you're under the safety car, so serving the penalty now could be better than serving it as the race is live. So we'll see how he does. Currently P13 after his pit stop. He'll be hoping for a much higher position than that after his qualifying result. There's still quite a way to go in this race yet.
I think the safety car will probably go in the next lap, but it seems like at the moment everyone's really caught up, apart from PRL Ben, who will catch up by the end of this, and then Saskia Moll's almost a step behind the others. I mean, I don't know how that's really happened, but it seems like quite unfortunate luck there for the AlphaTauri driver, as we We'll probably get another lap under the safety car. We want to see good green flag racing though, so hopefully this ends pretty quickly. Yeah, it's not coming in this lap.
At least one more lap of running behind the safety car, of course. Here in Mexico we've got the Mercedes safety car, not the Aston Martin. Field starting to bunch up now a little bit. You see drivers weaving around trying to keep some heat in their tyres, ready for when the restart does come.
Harrison's gone off.
There's been an incident with the Red Bull.
And now they seem to have a drag race, the Red Bull and the AlphaTauri in safety car conditions. I've never seen anything like this, and Saskia Mo obviously does have to give up the position back, but that is a very odd incident, I do have to say. He must have just lost it, not having enough tyre temperature in those tyres.
And I mean, loses it again.
I mean, we saw in qualifying the medium tyres was definitely quite risky. Obviously, when they were cold, they just didn't seem to have the grip in, so it's going to be the most adaptable driver who gets the best launch off the grid. Obviously, we have a couple of drivers on the soft tyres with Lyapper and Impulse will be looking to get that immediate launch, but if there's anything to go by, I think Apex could have a great chance in this second restart here.
We will have to wait and see when this safety car comes in. These two have been absolutely stuck to each other for most of the race so far. Jim Bobster also involved in the battle as the safety car does come in this lap.
Alright, get the popcorn ready. I cannot wait to see what happens here. Sam Drives is going to have to... Well, last time it was Harrison who led in the safety car. Let's see what Sam Drives' tactic is to get the field as far away as possible from him, as A. Williams hits Jim Bobster there. Unfortunate for the Haas driver, he might get that removed as Sam Drives is not thinking about moving, but we're going to look behind him now. As he's now has bolted. That's a good. That's about as best of a launch he can get, as he's now built the gap up to 4 tenths at Apex, but he does not crucially have the toe behind him. But it looks like Apex is the one under pressure from Jim Bobster. Is Jim Bobster going to think about a move going down inside turn 1? Yes, he is. Both cars leave plenty of room, obviously not wanting any collisions at all, as Apex kicks out the rear end there. As now Jim Bobster is going to try and think about going around the outside of what I believe is turn 4, as Apex moves a little bit there, trying to cover off his Ferrari rival behind him. And the move is done as, Jim Bobster nearly gets hit by what that is now Blyapper trying to pull off a move on the Haas of A. Williams. Gets a lovely switchback going into the S section, and he's got ahead of the Haas driver as Jim Bobster gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. As Jim Bobster has now gone into AI mode, what has happened to the Ferrari driver here?
We have another retirement. Weepier Bag in the Red Bull retiring. As we are now under a virtual safety car again.
Come on, guys. We need some more good... That was pretty impressive, and I do have to say, look at how Blyapper has climbed up the field.
It's been one incredible drive from Blyapper so far, starting 16th on the grid, currently running in P3. He is driving his absolute best out there today, it seems.
Yeah,
Will he be able to maintain this?
I've known Blyapper from other leagues before when he got a P2 in the championship of SOR, and well, it's just starting to see him back into some of that form really, that he seemingly, I wouldn't say lost, but obviously this is a little bit more of a competitive league, but this is good stuff from the AlphaTauri drivers. Harrison has now got a 5-second penalty for colliding with Scott. As Ben has overtaken Harrison, what is happening? Oh, it's because there is no longer a safety car out.
Here we go, we're back
As
under
Ben
green
is
flag
going to try and go around
conditions.
the outside of the S section there, and Scott making up good progress from obviously when he pitted at the end of that at the beginning of that safety car, not the virtual one, but the one before that, and he's made up his way back into 8th place, hoping to close down the gap to the leaders.
As we mentioned, the leaders, we currently see LS Apex running in P2, about a second's gap between them now. As DRS is
enabled now, but he's out of DRS range anyway, so not really much you can do. Is Saskia Mull gets a penalty.
On that last safety car there, the last full safety car we had, Sam obviously in control of the pace as we came around that final corner, and he got the restart of dreams, pulling out quite a large gap to
Yellow
Apex.
flag in sector 1 as Jim Boxer is going to go down the inside of Blyappa. Blyappa holds it around the outside. That's a great defensive move from the AlphaTauri driver, even though Jim Boxer is going to try and go around the outside. And is almost try and do the same move with what Blyappa did. Is now going to try and go around the outside the S section. You don't pull off moves there often, but he has. And there's Clayton. What a move there. As Apex crucially gets a penalty. That is bad news for him in the championship. As I think Blyappa's tyres are now dropping off, as he's now going to nearly get. He goes a little bit wide there, but he's under pressure from Ray Williams now.
If we have a look at this battle, it's about 3 or 4 cars long.
Is Apex getting DRS? Yes, he has got DRS.
What can he do down into the first corner? Sam Drive's running out of ERS, it seems. Apex just not close enough to look at a move. That will bring the gap down quite considerably.
As Blyappa's got ahead of Jim Bobster again, so obviously he's making those soft tyres work as long as he can, but he is building a bit of a train behind him. As Jim Bobster's not having any DRS here. A little bit closer in the lead battle, would you have to say so? Obviously the midfield. Oh, Ricky Racer has spun behind A. Williams. I think there was a little bit of contact there, but that is such a shame for the Alpine driver. He seems like he, after an impressive qualifying performance, he seems to have no luck there on race day, but that's where sadly the points are dished out. Oh, and Jim Bobster's he hit the ball. He hasn't got damage, but he has spun, and that is not good at all for Jim Bobster's hope of winning the race.
That's not going to do Jim Bobster any good whatsoever, maintaining P3, P4 for quite some time.
Let's have a look at the battle of the lead. And
what can Apex do?
Blasting past Sam Drives. Sam Drives having no ERS and not really any defence he can really do there. But Sam Drives is going to think about maybe trying to keep the lead. As let's see. Down the back straight, Sam can think about a move. Yes, he's going down the inside as they make contact. We talked about who they're most likely to crash into. Both drivers said each other, but it was a massive, great big contact as Sam Drives is now going to have to give up the position going into the S section, but he hopefully will get DRS going into the next main straight. Well, and Apex has gone really wide there actually. So he might think about a move going down here into the stadium section. He's going to try and go around the outside, the stadium section. You don't often see moves around there, but he has made the move work there. But Apex probably has tactically let past there. Thinking about not really trying to fight that, because now he's going to get a DRS down the main straight here. Incredible wrestling.
Wasn't much of a defence there from Apex coming into the stadium section, but that was quite some overtake from Sam Drives. Whether Apex let him through or not, you see Apex having that DRS now. He's going to have that speed boost coming into the first corner, but he's going to opt to stay behind the Williams. Of course, Apex having that 3-second time penalty as well.
Oh, and Sam nearly crashes there, as now Apex is going to get a beautiful run with DRS, with ERS, and he is now blast past Sam Drives. He's now got down the inside, but Sam has made the move there, defensively work, as now there's more contact between them, as Apex is now going to try and go around the outside here. You don't really often see moves there, and he can't get past there. But he's now probably going to think about charging his battery and going for another move. But all this battling is probably not helping Apex, not only with his tyre life, but also because he's got a penalty.
These two still absolutely stuck to the back of each other. There is another yellow flag.
Oh
A.
no, A.
Williams.
Williams! I just was about to comment that he got into third place, so he'd overtaken Blayappa. But he has now got damage, he's not got a front wing. That is heartbreaking there for the sole Haas driver who was doing so well. But unfortunately, that can be the S section. It can just catch you out there, and he has, as Jim Bobster he's crashed in the S section, and there is a safety car.
Jim Bobster, then your 5th retirement of this race and bringing out the 3rd full safety car of this race so far.
That's going to help Blayappa. He's going to be a fast driver in that AlphaTauri. And he somehow made the soft last 12 laps, but it's also going to be interesting seeing how the leaders, what tyres they're going to go on to, because they could be vulnerable if they don't pit. I'd imagine they got another set of mediums, but do they? Because they all went out on qualifying with the mediums.
We'll see what kind of strategy calls the top 3 make. It is currently the top 3 that have stayed out the longest. Sam Drives and Apex on the medium compound tyres for 12 laps, and Blayappa in the AlphaTauri making those soft compound tyres last for 12 laps so far.
Hey,
That's quite something from him.
So, luckily that safety car came out pretty well for him after losing his front wing, but he's still going to lose out quite a lot of track position, but that's just how it is. The Sam and Apex are pitting. Let's see if they go into different tyres. Apex will be the first one to come into the pit, and the Aston Martin garage have pitted out, or got out the medium compounder tyres. Is Sam doing the same? Yes, he is. Blayappa, let's see what tyres he's opted for. He's opted for the hard compound tyres. That's an interesting call from the AlphaTauri driver. As Harris Som, I think he's gone to mediums, so Blayappa could be quite vulnerable at the safety car restart, but he might have some good tyre going into the end of the race.
Couple of drivers going onto those hard compound tyres. You see Blayappa, as we just said, A. Williams as well as Saskia Mole all going onto those hard compound tyres. Ricky Racer and F1 Scott already doing a couple of laps on those hard compound tyres. The one odd one out is the McLaren of SOG and Impulse on those soft compound tyres. Is he hoping to take those soft compound tyres all the way to the end of the race? That's going to be quite a few laps. And he's going to have to manage those tyres quite a lot.
He's going to pray the safety car doesn't come in for a few laps. But we do have a new race leader, PR then 12, who had that weird incident, and what seeming to me was about like lap 1, lap 2, has now got himself into the lead of the race with Ricky Racer with that penalty viciously going at the steering wheel to warm up his hard compound tyres. He's now in second with Sam Drives hosting the number 42 on his car in the Williams. Is in P3.
Look at how things stand currently with the penalties. You see Ricky Racer on a 5-second, LS Apex on a 3, as well as Saskia Mole in the AlphaTauri on a 3. Everyone else clear of penalties so far. Most have come in to serve them during their pit stops, of course. We do have 2 packs of cars forming. We have the lead pack, which extends all the way down to the Red Bull, it seems. And then we have F1 Scott all the way down to Impulse in 12th. I'm expecting these 2 packs to bunch up quite a bit more before the safety car comes in.
So, I think this will probably be our last safety car, because usually it's only about 3 before there's no more safety cars. So, if you had to bet your life on one driver getting the victory, who would you pick?
It's going to be hard to decide. There's been quite a few drivers that have shown pace capable of getting into the lead position, but it's who can maintain that lead position, who has the consistency matched with that pace to get into that position but hold it till the end. POR Ben's in a good position currently. LS Apex and Sam Drives, we can't count them out either, as they've been leading this race collectively for pretty much all of it so far. Riki Racer as well, P2 for him. He is another potential.
I'd say anyone in the top 5 can really realistically win, all showed good pace on their best times. But it's all just about, as I think the safety car is now going in this lap, so this will be interesting. I'm going to go on board with the championship leader here, personally. The stream might see something different, but I'm excited to see what Apex can conjure up.
I'm going to go on board with Riki Racer and POR Ben, because Riki Racer's getting very, very close to POR Ben so far.
As they have now bolted, and Riki Racer has got an incredible start there from second position. He's already wheel to wheel with POR and Ben 12, as Sam Drives is draining his battery and is going to look down and move down the inside, but he can't make it work. As Riki Racer is going to try and go around the outside of POR Ben, as now Apex is going to go around the outside of Sam Drives. Two championship protagonists have made a little bit of contact there on the straight. This is going to be about if they're going to get boxed in, as Sam Drives is going to try and go around the outside there. As they've made more contact, they got a little bit boxed in by Riki Racer there, and he's now fallen in position down to Aston Martin, as Harrison has now gone down the inside of Blariappa, who's on them hard compound tyres.
There's a yellow flag, Sector 2, that will be the AlphaTauri of Saskia Moll. Unfortunate for her, as well as the Red Bull getting into an incident there as well.
Ooh,
but so far, after this restart, this has been some of the closest racing we've seen all season.
As Apex has gone around the outside the stadium section of Riki Racer, making a decisive move there. As look at Sam, as Sam gets a penalty now. So both the Aston Martin car of LS Apex and Sam Drives have both got the same penalties.
This could really shake things up in the battle for the lead, as I believe Sam Drives is now coming under pressure from Riki Racer. He is. Riki Racer will look to the inside of turn 1. Sam Drives is not letting him have it. He will stay ahead, but only just.
It's just gone quite wide there, but he's had to deploy all of his remaining battery, but he's already burnt it all. And he's still behind Apex, so that has not been the restart that he would have wanted. And this is almost a dream restart for POR Ben. However, he does have the older medium tyres, so I'd say someone who's in a really good place is Blariappa. If he can keep it on the road, which he didn't necessarily through that corner, if he keeps it within 3 seconds of Apex and Sam, he's got a good chance here of getting a podium at least. Talking about the old aging tyres of POR Ben, Apex has absolutely closed that gap, as he's now going to go onto the main straight here. Let's see what he can do.
As DRS is enabled, we will ride on board with the Aston Martin of LS Apex, as he is hunting down the back of that Alfa Romeo of POR Ben. Followed closely by the Williams of Sam Drives, though, not too far behind. But none of them will have DRS just yet. POR Ben just trying to defend against Apex there. Apex not quite being able to get past just yet.
With 5 rounds remaining, this Mexican GP round is well, giving us some incredible racing between all 3 of the championship protagonists. As you can see here, as there is a yellow flag there, and I don't know who that is. It could be Harrison, but the yellow flag's kept clear. But what I do want to emphasise is these 3 guys in the championship battle are racing incredibly hard. So do not count out any wheel contact, as I believe Riki Racer has crashed. as LS Apex takes the lead of the Mexican Grand Prix, but Sam is looking down the inside the stadium section as Ben now is in second place. Apex is taking the lead of the Mexican Grand Prix, the championship leader, showing us why he is the championship leader. But we are now going onto the main straight. Apex will not have DRS's Riki race against a penalty. As look at this, Apex with that move, not having DRS, is going to potentially lose 2 places. He's already lost the position to Ben, and he is now going down the inside of Sam Drives. LS Apex is, as they are fighting almost to the death. As Sam Drives gets a beautiful exit, but he's going to get boxed in by Ben. As Apex is going to try and go around the outside, and I think that's going to be a move that has secured him second place.
These 3 cars now absolutely stuck to each other. LS Apex being overtaken by Sam Drives now. Down into 3rd place he goes. Still right on the back of this battle for the lead. Top 3 separated by a couple of tenths. There is another yellow flag.
It's Harrison. I'm pretty sure it's the Red Bull. Yeah, he's ghosted, and that is not where you want to be. That section of racetrack is proving to be. Oh, and somehow Sam Drives gets into the lead in the Mexican Grand Prix. Oh, crikey, this battle is enthralling.
Seems as though PRR Ben got some oversteer or some form of issue there coming out of the final corner. He just couldn't get the drive out of there. Sam Drives just nipped straight past him. Ben straight back past him though with the aid of DRS, just getting that extra speed down the main straight. He is straight back past his rival of Sam Drives. It's all 3 of them going wide.
Personally, if I was the smartest driver here, you would think you would just want to be at the back and just save your DRS, because let's be honest, if you are leading on the final lap, you are not going to end up the lead at this rate. So just saving your battery could be the key to the race victory here, as it's so close between the top 3.
So there's another 3-second time penalty for Sam Drives.
That is not good at all, and Apex gets very loose there. But no wonder why Sam Drives is getting desperate, because he's now going to be 3 seconds behind Apex and 6 seconds behind Ben on penalty. So that is not good for the Williams driver.
That is not what Sam Drives would have wanted. In his pre-race interview, he told us he is only 31 points back from your current Drivers' Championship leader, LS Apex. We get a fastest lap set there from Impulse in the McLaren. As POR Ben still in the lead, although he sacrifices it to LS Apex. These 2 going absolutely wheel to wheel.
They're 3 wide. They're no longer 3 wide. This is incredible racing. I've never seen anything quite so much like this. As Ben goes down the inside with a daring dive bomb there, as Apex is looking to get the cut back, but look at Sam trying to go get a cheeky good run on Apex, but he's not going to quite make that out work. But these guys are losing so much time to people on the soft tyres, called SOGN Impulse, who's looking to have a good chance to get in a podium here if he can make those soft tyres work and last these remaining 10 laps.
Of course, as the 3 people in the battle for the lead currently, the more they scrap and fight, the more time they're going to lose, and the closer the people behind them will get.
Oh, and Ben gets a bit of oversteer there again, so he's obviously struggling here as Ben goes into the pit lane. He can't make those tyres work.
POR Ben with 16 laps on those tyres.
This is it's now somehow someone going into the pit lane. It's now we've gained the car in the lead battle. This is incredible racing as all. I saw Ray Williams there trying to think of a move. He's got hard compound tyres, so he's going to make them last for quite a while. As Sam Drives in LS Apex going wheel to wheel again.
Another wheel-to-wheel fight we're seeing now is A. Williams versus Sojourn Impulse in the McLaren. soft tyres versus the hard compound tyres, both 8 laps old. Of course, Impulse, the only one in this battle currently without a penalty. He will have some form of an advantage here as he has been clean so far this race and he is on the soft compound. Apex, there's a mistake from Apex there.
Yeah,
Drops down into P4.
That's not good for the Aston Martin driver there. Looking to retain his championship lead. I mean, it could be healthy, but if he misses one round due to unforeseen circumstances, that can be absolutely wiped out. So every point will make the difference here in this championship. As still 31 points, it can still be broken quite easily, just a couple of bad rounds. And at the moment, he's driven brilliantly so far, but he's still got a load section to go. And if he makes another mistake like that, he will lose out a ton of points to his championship rival.
Apex is not hanging around though, he got himself a little bit caught up there behind the McLaren, just losing a little bit of time. It looks as though he's almost going to be outside of DRS range. He had DRS there, but will he be able to keep inside that DRS range?
Well, he will now, because A. Williams
will now.
And Impulse and were battling. I do have to say, that's a shame for PRL Ben, because he's going to be a very fast Alfa Romeo car, but he is so far behind the others. Like, 18 seconds to the leader, that is not what he would have wanted.
Of course, POR Ben quite involved with the battle for the lead there just a few laps ago, but he just could not go the distance on those tyres. Those tyres were just absolutely done. He needed a fresh set of tyres if he's going to challenge, but he is now down in P11. What can he do from that position?
Crucially, Sam Drives has gotten out of DRS range of A. Williams. That is quite big for the race, as Apex passes SOGN Impulse for third place provisionally, but remember the top three all have penalties, and 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th do not have any penalties, and they're not too far back either, as Impulse has lost a lot of time there. He's now going to battle with Harrison, so obviously then soft tyres are not working out now, as we saw that with Blyapper at the end of the first stint, as Harrison goes down the inside and he's 3 seconds behind Apex, so that will be enough for him potentially to win the race really at the moment, currently.
Impulse there just losing, as we said, quite a lot of time. Is that a tyre wear related issue? Is there something else? Has he got technical difficulties perhaps? But whatever's happened, he's gone from P3 down to P5, which is not what he would have wanted, as Williams is now up into second as LS Apex.
And the safety car is going to come in on lap 32 out of 36 of the Mexican Grand Prix. FV Pixels with the drive-through penalty leads in the AMR 21, with Sam Drives with a penalty right behind him. POR Ben is in third place as Sam Drives go wheel to wheel with FV Pixels. Can POR Ben 12 get into that battle? He is on the old medium compound tyres, but he's going to go down the inside of Sam, but Sam holds it around the outside. What a beautiful defensive manoeuvre there from Sam Drives on them new, fresh, soft tyres. What a job there from the Williams driver, sporting the number 42 like he is in his gamer tag. That is absolutely superb work there. As we're going to see A. Williams nearly gets hit by F1 Scott as LS Apex 66 goes around the outside of the Mercedes there. Good move there for the championship leader. At the moment he has a penalty, but I'm sure he would like to climb a few more places after that contact earlier with A. Williams. That did cost him a lot of time, as FB Pixels losing quite a lot of time in the middle sector there. As it looks like Apex has lost a little bit of time to the pair, but A. Williams is going to think about getting past soon. That AMR 21 driven by FV Pixels, as Blyapper has made up a place on F1 Scott, the AlphaTauri driver, doing well as Sam Drive sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, as we did have yellow flags briefly in the final sector. as Sam Drives has already got a 2.5 second lead over POR Ben in this in the final laps, really, as FV Pixels into turn 1 stays ahead of A Williams. But look at the train behind him, the Haas, and his other teammate of LS Apex 66, all looking to get past him as soon as possible. But I'm sure him with the medium compounded tyres, he would love to get a podium, I know, Pixels, but he does have that drive-through penalties. He cuts the corner there. He cuts it, he makes that mistake, and now he's lost a lot of time and he's gone into AI mode. That's unfortunate there for the British young racer, as LS Apex 66 is going to try and go around the outside the S section, but you don't see moves often there, and that's worked out there beautifully there for the British driver sporting the number 66, and that is a great move there, and it will help Aston Martin the Constructors' Championship. But A. Williams, obviously the commentator that we all know and love, trying to fight back in him, but he is currently on for a podium, A. Williams, with the penalty situation. As Sam Drives sets another fastest lap, he really wants his win. Sam Drives, he needs the gap to be, I believe, 6 seconds for him to claim victory over POR Ben, but that is looking likely considering the pace of the Williams that is on the track, as A. Williams is right in the slipstream of LS Apex 66, who has run out of battery, but Williams has not got a lot of battery himself left to use, and I'm sure that is going to be a battle that we will see a little bit in the closing stages of the Grand Prix. We are already on the penultimate lap as Pixels is in the pit lane serving his drive-through penalty. That is very unfortunate there for the British racer. I'm not sure how that has happened, but I'm sure we will get to know in the post-race interviews. LS Apex 66 right on the tail now of POR Ben 12. Obviously he's struggling on those old aging mediums, and LS Apex has some brand spanking new soft compound tyres that he can use. So he cuts there. Let's see if he can make the move. Oh, and POR Ben chops him off quite a bit, but he's gonna... Oh, there's even more contact between the two championship rivals as Apex goes down the inside, using that tyre advantage to good use and gets himself up into a provisional second place. But will that be good enough? Because he obviously has penalties. POR Ben 12 does not have penalties, so he could end up winning this race. We'll see as it's now the final lap. POR Ben 12 down on the main straight, going wheel to wheel with the Aston Martin car, and he wants to take the outside line going into turn 1 as Sam Drives his gap. It's about 7 seconds as A. Williams now goes down the inside, goes around the outside of turn 2. What a move there for the Haas car. But Apex is going to get a good run here going down into turn 4, I believe it is. But I think, as Apex does have a look there, but he's a bit too far back to think about going down the inside as Sam Drives. Well, he's done such a great job today, he really, really has. But there is yellow flags and Sam Drives is out of the race. What on earth has happened here? POR Ben is your race leader from A. Williams, and LS Apex 66 in 3rd place, and Blyapper from 16th on the grid has made his way up to 4th. But that is absolutely tragic for the race leader. He was doing so well, but now POR Ben going around the stadium section is looking like he's going to take a first victory here in Mexico. As we're going to go around the final corner, it's going to be POR Ben who takes the Mexican Grand Prix. And let's see what the penalties are like as Blyapper takes 2nd place ahead of A. Williams, and LS Apex 66, the championship leader, takes 4th place ahead of a crashing Riki racer. And wow, what an end to the Mexican Grand Prix. Utterly heart-wrenching though for Sam Drives, as Saskia Mole is going to take her first points in the FVC as Pixels does some burnouts. But what an end, what an end. Some great battles, some heartbreaks and some joyous moments throughout the grid.